know about you, but I've been thinking a lot about prayer this week. I've got some really specific things to pray for. My stepdad's health, my wife's employment with the school district, my kids adjusting to a very extended spring break, and about a dozen other things that are all directly related to the one big thing, the elephant in the room. Earlier this year, I was teaching through a book called A Celebration of Discipline by Richard Foster. And in the book, he talks about prayer with a lot of enthusiasm and fervor. And the biggest takeaway in reading his chapter on prayer was his very strong wording about how weak our prayers can be. You know, we spend a lot of time hedging with if it's your will, or praying for things around a situation to improve rather than for the situation itself to be resolved. But that isn't how Jesus taught his disciples to pray. See, there's a number of times that Jesus talks to them about prayer, and the first that comes to my mind is Matthew chapter 6, verse 9 through 13. Jesus begins by saying, "Pray then like this. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come. Your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also have forgiven our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil." This is Prayer 101. And right up front, Jesus begins by telling us to acknowledge who we are praying to. Our Father in heaven. Even his name is holy. And the very next thing we do is ask for his kingdom and will to be present in our lives in this world. The rest of the prayer tells us what kind of things fall into the will of God for our lives: provision, forgiveness, healthy relationships, guidance to do the right thing and avoid the wrong thing. Now, all of this is at the beginning of Jesus' ministry and time with the disciples. What comes later, when he's instructing his followers, is this statement, and it comes from John. He says this: "Truly, truly I say to you, whoever believes in me will also do the works that I do. And greater works than these will he do, because I am going to the Father. Whatever you ask in my name, this I will do, that the Father may be glorified in the Son. If you ask me anything in my name, I will do it." Now, Jesus hasn't forgotten what he taught the disciples before. He's not telling them to treat God like a genie granting wishes. In fact, at the beginning of his ministry, he's already told them that praying for God's will is essentially step one. And then he spent 3 years showing them what it means to live God's will, orienting them to an understanding of the kinds of things that God wants them to pray for. I want to encourage you to pray. Pray boldly. Pray to God for the miraculous healing of individuals. Pray to God for the pandemic to simply vanish. Pray for people with hard hearts to be loving and kind. These are good prayers. Prayers of conviction about God's ability to change anything. But, and this is most important, pray for God to use you as an instrument of his kingdom in the lives of others today. The Sermon on the Mount teaches us to pray for God to bring about his kingdom in our lives, but it also teaches us to pray for God to use us to bring about the kingdom for others. I hope you're praying today, and I hope you know that I am praying for you. I love you all, and be the kingdom today.